Okay, right. No messing around. Download lineup came out a couple of days ago. We both had a couple of days to mull it over, and I straight away want to know your opinion. So let's not mess about. Let's get straight into it. So, headliners. I want your opinion straight away. What's your opinions on the headliners?
I think it's a good move, to be fair. Green Day, I've never been like a huge fan of, but I like a lot of their songs. They're not a sort of band I'd go and see and spend sort of quite a lot of money to go and see. So for me, perfect festival headliner. I think personally that it'll be a lot of fun. I think it's about time they played Download, so I've got no problem with that. Sleep Token, look, I think that's the one that's going to divide opinion, right? That's the one that a lot of people haven't got a clue who they are. But I think you cannot deny.
Really? Do people not know who Sleep Token are?
No, remarkably, and there's people on Facebook on the Download post that put it out that went, I don't even know who Sleep Token are. And you just think, I don't understand how that's possible.
Oh no, they're like the biggest band in metal right now, aren't they?
I mean, that no one is selling the sort of tickets that they're selling consistently, selling out as they are. I know they've got a lot of TikTok fame, haven't they? They've done quite well through that.
Yeah.
But for me, like, it's the right decision for Download to push this band right now. They're hot right now. So no issue with that. Again, I probably wouldn't spend single ticket money to go and see Sleep Token at their own show right now. Not a huge fan, so that makes complete sense that's, a festival's perfect. And look, for Korn, I think it's about time. I've got no issue with Korn headlining at all. I'm actually looking forward to all three headliners. What about you?
Yeah, I think they're fantastic choices. I mean, if I was gonna, just me personally, I would have liked Rammstein or AC/DC just because I haven't seen them. But
Agreed.
I've had ample time to go and see Rammstein and AC/DC, and I haven't done so. So that's on me. But legit, I mean, these three bands. First of all, three brand new headliners, right? That have never headlined Download before,
Exactly.
which is incredible. They deserve those spots. Green Day. I saw back in 2001 at Reading Festival. You were there as well. I was actually just thinking, that actually proves how actually massive this band were, that they were headlining Reading Festival in 2001, and now pretty much 25 years later, they're still headlining festivals. I mean, that goes to show how huge they are, really. I know everyone's been going crazy for their shows recently because they've been doing Dookie and American Idiot all the way through. I'll enjoy Green Day. Korn, like you said, they just deserve it. I think the biggest telling point with Korn was when they were below Biffy Clyro, not the year we went, a different year. And Korn played, and the field pretty much emptied out for Biffy Clyro. And I think then Download kind of knew, these guys need to headline. They deserve it. They've earned it. They're one of the biggest bands in metal over the last 20, 30 years. They deserve it. Sleep Token are, like we said, massive right now. And it is kind of refreshing to actually have a band that is in their prime right now. We haven't had a Download headliner. It's always been sort of legacy bands and stuff, but these guys are in their prime. I think their first album was like 2018 or something. Or I might be wrong, maybe 2016, but they're in their absolute prime right now. And the only thing with Sleep Token is, my opinions on Sleep Token. I've told you this before.
I do.
I find them the most frustrating band in the world, just purely because I absolutely adore 30% of their output. And when I say adore, I mean like some of the best music that has come out of this genre for the last 20 years. Like absolutely incredible stuff. Songs like Hypnosis, my mind's gone blank now. The Offering, is it? They're absolutely some of the best metal songs that have come out of the last 20 years. But the other 70% of their output, I absolutely despise. Like literally, I want to shoot myself in the head. It's so dull. And I've never experienced that with a band ever in my life. So watching them live is going to be very, very strange, because I'm going to be there for 3 songs going, I fucking hate this. I absolutely hate this. And then the third song, I absolutely adore this song. I've never had this in life before. You get lots of bands that come along where like you love some of their songs and then the rest of the stuff is like, oh, it's okay, but never actively despise. I don't know. Have you ever had a band like that?
Not to that extreme, I don't think. I've certainly had it with Dream Theater over the years, where I go from one album
Yeah,
where I go,
yeah.
not a lot there I like, and another album I love, but not many. I mean, I'm not quite at the same level of. I probably like more of Sleep Token than you do.
Mm,
I tend to like the more mellow, atmospheric songs they do, rather than the heavy ones. Bizarrely, I like his haunting vocals. I think it'll just be something different.
mm.
For me, I can't lie. When those headliners got announced, I wasn't like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest set headliners ever." But for me, it just makes complete sense why they're there.
Mm.
And it's the first time, I think, I might be wrong, but it might be the first festival I've gone to where I'm genuinely thinking I'm going to enjoy every headliner this weekend.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's true. I'm happy with the headline. Like I say, if I was nitpicking, but I'd go for Rammstein and ACD. But that's purely just me, just because I haven't seen them. You know, I'm not one of these people that go, "Oh, Download have to pick the
yeah,
headliners that I want that I haven't seen," which is crazy.
well,
But
they're
yeah,
two.
Sleep Token, like you said, I'm happy they're there because I wouldn't go to one of their concerts for the reasons that I just put out. So it's a chance to see them, and
Yeah,
that I do absolutely love that drummer of Sleep Token. He's absolutely
he's unreal.
incredible.
He's
Absolutely
unreal.
incredible. I don't know whether you've ever seen any of the Drumeo videos that he
I've
does
watched
on
it
YouTube.
twice. Yeah, I've watched it twice just because it's fascinating.
So
And just
amazing.
hearing what he's saying and how he plays. And I think the first Sleep Token song I really heard, it's which song is it? They have that little jazzy sort of drop down halfway through,
The
and
one
he
that
just
went big on TikTok.
yeah, is it the I can't remember what it's called now. I'm never going to remember names, but when I just heard him just play with a little cymbal and then drop into this like absolutely immense little
The
fill.
Summoning, I think it is,
That's
isn't it?
common,
Yeah.
yeah, and I thought, "Oh, that's interesting. That's
Mm,
very interesting," and that kind of piqued it. But yeah, you and I both said lots and lots over the years with bands that it's little details that sometimes stand out, and it can be the way a drummer plays, it can be a bass tone,
mm,
it can be anything, But um, yeah, his vocals and that drummer are what kind of
mm.
draw me in, really.
I'm looking
So
forward to that song with that chorus at the everyone in that field is going to sing along with that mega chorus. Well, it's not even a chorus, is it? It's like the end of the song. But you know that bit that I mean, the whole
mhm.
field is going to be singing that bit, and it's going to be incredible. So
It'll be a moment. It'll be a moment. And I think a lot of people are going to throw shade at Sleep Token and be like, shouldn't be there. Why is it not Iron Maiden and all this sort of stuff? And then they'll watch and I think they'll enjoy it and come away going, yeah, do you know what? That was the right decision. And fair play.
yeah,
It's,
I think a lot of people have said like they haven't earned it, which I think is crazy. I think they point to bands like Parkway Drive and that have done Download a lot more, and they think, oh, they deserve it. But I don't think headliners are done on that. It's just on popularity. They've earned it because they're huge. They're absolutely massive right now. They're the biggest band in metal, so they've earned to headline Download.
also, don't underestimate. It's about who's available as well.
Yeah, of
That
course.
that's what it comes down to. It's availability. And I think for Download's point of view, two bands that people have talked about a lot recently about maybe getting the bump is Sleep Token and Ghost. And
Mm,
I think Ghost probably next year. And there'll be people that are moan about that because they want Iron Maiden, they want, the usuals. You know as well as I do that over the years I haven't gone to as many downloads because I don't want to see Kiss and Iron Maiden. It doesn't really interest me. So for
Well,
me, it's
I think that like so we didn't go this year, so we went last year for the 20th anniversary. And to
Mhm.
me, the 20th anniversary kind of felt like it was like the end of that sort of era for Download when they're actually going to start looking to younger festival goers and younger bands. You know, I think they've had enough of getting Aerosmith and Def Leppard and
Mhm.
Slipknot. As you know, that 20th anniversary was kind of like because that was an incredible lineup. That was
Mhm.
absolutely amazing lineup. It always felt like that was the end of an era. Now we're going to change and start going to the youth, which kind of brings us to the next band. So I think we safely both are happy with the headliners. So let's go
Yeah.
to the logo bands, as you call it, I guess,
Mhm.
that are a little bit. What's the one I'm looking for? There we go. That's the one.
Yeah.
So yeah, thoughts on the logo bands and the next down.
So this is where it gets a bit interesting for me. Um, I mean, look, Weezer. I probably know more of Weezer than I realise. Never listened to them. Bullet, I like the early days of Bullet. Have I listened to much recently? Not really, but I think I'd enjoy. Jimmy Eat World, it's not for me. You know, they're one of those. I think we've said they're the. If I'm in the arena, I've got a beer in my hand and they're on, I nod my head. But
Mm.
you know, Don Brocco or Broco, I actually don't know anything about them at all. Couldn't tell you anything. Spirit Box, obviously, I'm a huge fan. Really excited about Spirit Box. Sex Pistols, well, it's not Sex Pistols, is it? So that's a bit of a strange one, but I understand from a point of view of it's a big name on there. Within Temptation, now that's a band that I should be a fan of. I listen, obviously, I like Nightwish and I like bands similar, but I've never really delved in. So I'm going to give that a proper good chance. I knew I wasn't going to see them last time we went because they clashed. So I think that's a good opportunity. The Darkness. Now, I've never seen The Darkness, and would I class myself a fan of The Darkness? I don't know. But if I've had a few beers in me and I'm down the front trying to hit those notes with Justin, I'm probably going to join in and have a good time. Yeah, Steel Panther, not for me. It's just not for me at all. It's never been my thing. Again, if I'm drunk enough, the chances are I'm going to probably enjoy it. But I remember last time I was there when Steel Panther were there, I went off and met Des from Coal Chamber. That was my little thing. McFly, who are they? Are they a big band in the metal scene? Are they? I don't know. Look, that's this year's Busted, right?
Yeah.
So
You know it'll be huge though, won't it? You know that it'll be huge, McFly.
it'll be massive. And I get it. I think a lot of people have what they call like gateway bands or bands they listened to when they were kids. There's no doubt that for a lot of youngsters that McFly and Busted were those bands. So
Yeah.
I get it. Apocalyptica, that always feels like the Metallica era for me, the four cellos. I don't know much about their kind of solo stuff. Cradle of Filth, absolute legends of the scene. You know, again, not a huge fan of them, but good for them. It's a big band. I know a lot of people will love them. Lorna Shore, again, another band that's huge, right? Another band that's really taken off. I love the Pain Remains trilogy. I don't really like much else. It's they're really talented band, and for the scene, I think they're probably really important as well. But I'm not sure that the jury's out whether I'll watch them. And then Sixth, again, been around for years and years and years. I remember meeting Justin from Sixth, Reading 2000, when he was telling me about a band he was in because he was camping with the same people I
I
was.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been around for years and years, so good on them. So
Yeah.
for me, the logo bands, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's plenty there to enjoy. Would I say it's massively exciting for me? Not really, but I understand why a lot of them are there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, for me, this is after the headliners. This is where I have a distinct problem. Because, now, I don't want to be too negative because I understand why all these bands are here. And in their own right, they're big enough to be there. They deserve to be there. And I know that there'll be a hell of a lot of fans of theirs that are really, really excited to go and see them. But there is literally nothing here that I'm excited about at all. And, you know, this is why I was saying earlier that I think it was a little bit of an end of an era where we are totally transitioning now to a different audience. I mean, maybe I just got unlucky, but I mean, there's just literally nothing here that excites me at all. Like,
there's nothing there that you actively listen to.
No, I mean, I was just hoping. I'll be honest with you now. In this whole lineup, there isn't anything that, apart from the headliners, there isn't actually a single band that I'm like, oh, I'm really excited to go and see them. You know, I was hoping for at least like an Opeth, an In Flames, a Kvelertak, a Mastodon, a Gojira, or just one band that I'd be like, oh yeah, great. I'm really looking forward to that band, but I haven't got anything. So I'm a little bit concerned. Now, obviously, we've got more to come. And I also haven't dived into some of the bands that I don't know, which I always do. And last time we went to download, I discovered Monuments. I discovered a love for Hatebreed just because they're there. Brutus, even though we didn't go and see them, I found them out because they were at download. They were clashing, yeah. So I do need to dive into some of the bands that I don't know. But Yeah, this has really got me thinking. Like, I kind of feel now that when you look at festivals, like, I don't actually look at them like genres anymore. I kind of look at them at like age generations. Like,
Hmm.
Reading Festival is for your 20-year-olds. We used to go to Reading Festival when we were 20. You know, you get what's current and what's popular at the time. You know, we got our metal bands like System of a Down and Metallica and Limp Bizkit at Reading, but we also got, you know, like Pendulum or The Killers or Kaiser Chiefs or Arctic Monkeys, you know, good stuff that was around at the time. And then, like, when we got into our 30s, we kind of gravitated towards Download, which would have the metal bands that we like. And I think it's quite ironic that I turned 40 this year, you turned 40 last year. And it kind of feels like we're out of that generation gap now where
Yeah.
Download are focusing on the 30-year-olds, because all these bands I see, like, people in their 30s will be absolutely love it.
Mm.
Weezer, Jimmy Eat World, you know, McFly, that when they were kids. I don't know. Do you feel the same? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and do you know what? I think that if you look at Bloodstock, I always said Bloodstock wasn't for me.
Mm,
Bloodstock was always more of the extreme kind of metal where there was a little bit too much of it. What Bloodstock have done, I think, is take a little bit away from Download. So, like, if you look at it this year, they've got next year as it will be, they've got like Machine Head there, haven't they? They've got, I think, Gojira there as
yeah.
well. I think they're kind of bridging the gap a little bit. And I actually said yesterday or day before that this Download lineup with its more variety reminds me a bit of the early Readings festivals in the sense that some of the bands, that some of the mixed genre ones, I mean, having like a McFly there and having like a Jimmy Eat World, Weezer, they're all bands that used to be at the Reading in the early days.
Mm.
So I do think, we have come to that age where we're going to start moaning about festival lineups. But
Well,
also,
this is the thing. I don't. I am moaning, but I don't want to sound like I'm moaning because I understand what they're doing. You
yeah,
know, I'm not moaning like I think they shouldn't do this. They should do this because they need to focus on a younger audience now. You just said it. I can go to Bloodstock if I want. Like, I mean, this year at Bloodstock, Opeth, Architects, Clutch, Hatebreed, you know, that was a great lineup for me. But the thing is, like, I also know that when we go to Download next year, we will have a fantastic time.
oh yeah,
The main point of us going is hanging out with our friends. The reason we picked Download as a festival is because it is a bit more eclectic. We all have sort of different music tastes. We're not all like massive metal heads. There's something for everyone there, which is why we like going to Download, and we will have a fantastic time. Um, but yeah, I think this is definitely changed.
I do think though, you said about you wanted like an Opeth and In Flames, bands like that.
Mm,
I'm actually kind of glad it's not like that though. So hear me out. We've seen those bands loads, and Opeth is never as good as at their own show because we've been to amazing Opeth shows.
yeah, definitely.
Mastodon is never as good as their own show because people don't. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's been a few times where there's bands I've been really excited to see. The crowd doesn't react how I feel they should, or you only get 35 minutes, and you go, actually, was I'm a bit disappointed by that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I actually had the same last year with Alexis on Fire and Clutch on the main stage, 30 minutes or so.
yeah.
I absolutely adore these bands, and I've seen them loads of times in their own venues, and they've been fantastic. But they get a little bit lost at a festival.
Mm.
But my main point is, I need a band to be excited about, and I haven't got one currently. I really haven't. So I mean, we can go
Give
further
in
down the
to
list
Spirit
a
Box.
bit.
Give in to Spirit Box, Mark. Let it get you.
Well, the thing is, Spirit Box is another irritating band for me because that song "Jaded" I absolutely adore,
Mhm.
but the rest of their stuff, it kind of feels like it's just, I don't know, it's not as good as that one song. Maybe because that was the first song I heard and it was so epic and amazing that none of
That's
their
not,
other stuff has actually matched it for me.
it's not even in the top 10 for me, that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Box. I discovered Spirit Box thanks to Tank the Tech. Shout out Tank during
Yeah.
COVID. He reacted to Rule of Nines, and I was like, "This is interesting." And then he happened to mention, "Oh, she looks different without corpse paint from Holy Roller or whatever it was." And I thought, "Oh, I'll go back and watch that." And that's how I discovered them. So I discovered it before kind of the recent releases, and so a lot of those early songs is what I absolutely love.
Mm.
And Jaded's great, and the new song "Soft Spine's" really good. But you know me, I've actually liked everything they've released. So that
Yeah,
for one,
I have tried quite a few times. But anyway, I will. Same thing. I won't go to a Spirit Box show, but I'll enjoy that song that I like. Same with a few of those bands. You know, the Darkness. I will go and watch and enjoy, but I'm not like, I can't wait to see the Darkness. You know, Cradle of Filth. I want to see their live show. I'm sure it would be an experience. I'm sure it would be great.
I saw them like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think Milton Keynes in 2000 or 2001, and it didn't land. It wasn't the way. So I'm assuming that'll be probably the fourth stage in the tent. I assume
Yeah.
probably winning. That's what makes sense for me. So depending on where they land, what day, and who they're up against, that might just be a nip in the tent and just see what it's like, you know.
Yeah, so let's have a look at some of these bands further down then, because Airborne, Alien Ant Farm, Bleed From Within, Boston Manor, CKY, Dayseeker, Eagles of Death Metal, Ghost Inside, Jerry Cantrell, Ginger, Mallory Knox, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Meshuggah, North Lane, Polaris, Poppy, Starset, Toba Negro, Whitechapel. Any of those stand out for you?
So there's quite a few bands there that I know who they are, and I'm going to have a little bit of a dive in. So Poppy's come on the scene fairly recently for me. I'd never heard of her, but she's actually been making quite a lot of headway. I think she's done quite a lot of YouTube stuff before, so that's an interesting one.
My uncle that you know is dying for me to go and see Baby Metal with him at the O2 because Poppy and Bambi Fug are supporting.
Well, she's like that Bambi Fug type thing, right?
Yeah.
But Turbo Negro I saw at Sonosphere 2011 because I went to the wrong stage and had a great time. Didn't know a single song.
I quite like them actually. I need to dive into them a bit more. I know I've
Yeah.
heard a few songs and I do. They're very punky, aren't they? But then quite like rock with solos as well. I need to dive into them a little bit more. I've liked what I've heard of them, so that could be one that I could get excited about actually.
Yeah, that's worth checking out. There's a few bands here that I know who they are, but I haven't really listened to them. So The Ghost Inside, Mallory Knox, Bleed From Within. I think Bleed From Within played last year, didn't they? Or this year as it is. Obviously Alien Ant Farm, again, that's in the same breath.
Have you ever seen them before? I've never seen them, so
I don't think so.
no.
I don't think so, no. But for me, in terms of like in that group there, obviously Ginger I enjoy. I do like Ginger. Meshuggah might be an experience.
Meshuggah are another band just like Spirit Box for me. Bleed is an incredible track. Like probably, I know you're gonna laugh at me, but probably in my like top 10 favorite metal songs of all time. That track is
Not
absolutely no, not top 5. But that track Bleed is absolutely unreal, absolutely incredible. I'd love to see that being drummed live. But the rest of their songs just sound like they're trying to recreate Bleed and it's not as good. Every single other Meshuggah song I hear is just, it doesn't do anything for me. I'd rather listen to Bleed. Loads of Meshuggah fans could be going crazy right now. I just can't get on with them. But I will look forward to hearing Bleed live. That will be an experience. I want to see that.
This is the thing. Like, last time we went, I knew who Ice Nine Kills were, hadn't listened to them. I knew who Motionless in White were, hadn't listened to them. You know, even like big bands like Hellstorm, knew who they were, hadn't listened to them. And then actually delved in, and by the time the festival came around, was really excited to see them. So I think there'll be a few bands within this group that kind of will become those bands for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about a few of them though.
So if we go down to the final tier, I don't think there's many in this final tier that I even oh no, actually I instead of going through them all, I'm just going to have a look at the ones that I know. Kitty, I'm actually I'd really like to see Kitty.
I think I struggled to see Kitty at Ozfest 2000. They were in like a tent, and it was really hard to get anywhere near them, because they were just huge at the time. And so I kind of don't really class it as seeing them. What was it, Oracle, their album that was around back in the day?
Yeah, it's weird that we never saw them back in that era when they were big, but I don't think they didn't do Ozfest. Are you talking about Ozfest when we went to Ozfest?
I'm sure it was Ozfest because I did 2 in a row. It was like 2001 and 2002.
Yeah, I think it was the one I wasn't at then.
Yeah. Did you go to the one with or without Tool?
With Tool.
Okay, so it was the one before then. Yeah, it was the
Mm.
one before. Yeah, look, I think that could be interesting. I haven't listened to what they've released a new album.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of the singles on there. It sounded really good. I'm going to dive into that again. But other than them, there's not too many that I know out of that lower deck of bands. So there's plenty to try and find out about, right? There's plenty to listen to. I know you do the same as me. I mean, I will listen to every single band that I don't know to see if there's anything
I've done a playlist already. I did a playlist literally on the night, quite excitedly. Did put every single act's top 5 songs on Spotify in a playlist, and I'll whack it on in the car on shuffle. And as soon as something piques my interest, I'll hit the like button, add it to my liked songs, and then I'll go back and do it that way. But there are some bands there that I kind of know of, and there's a few there that I mean, Graphic Nature, I know about them. Static Dress, we saw supporting
Graphic Nature. Are they Japanese?
I don't know. They were supporting one of the bands that I went to see, and so I listened to a few songs and then realised I wasn't going to get there in time to watch them. So
because they have been for the past few years down, like always having a sort of random Japanese band, and
Sim from Japan.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think they were there a couple of years ago. But I've always had my fingers crossed for Maximum the Hormone to go.
Yeah,
and they've done Hellfest, and yeah, I just obviously this is just me. I know they're not very popular in this country, but it would actually be huge for them because people will experience them for the first time, and that people will do what we do and listen to bands that they don't know that are at the festival, and they'll have massive exposure over here. And I don't know. They're a weird band. They don't like coming over to Europe if they don't have to. But Download have always sneaked in a Japanese band. They had Hanabi this year. They've had Love Bites before. They've had Baby Metal, obviously. But they always like to put a Japanese band in. So I'm sure there's. I think that Graphic Nature might be Japanese. But yeah, I'd really wish that they'd bring Maximum the Hormone one day. It's just one day. At least I have seen them now.
Well, this is it. And then, and like we said, suddenly they go to a festival. They're quite low down. It's 25 minutes, first band of the day. The crowd don't know them, and then you go, oh.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why they don't do it, because this is the thing. I mean, they are absolutely huge in Japan. I mean, they're bigger than Baby Metal in Japan. They are like the biggest. They are the biggest Japanese metal band in Japan. But obviously abroad, more people know Baby Metal by far. But yeah, they're not going to get it. But yeah, so overall, I need something else. I'm really. When's the next announcements?
So January, February. Now the general consensus, because obviously, as you know, I kind of said about who these headliners were rumored to be. The people on the forum, they delve into people's touring schedule, what they've said. It's amazing how they come up with these ideas. But they're still thinking that Slayer might turn up. They're thinking that Falling in Reverse still might turn up. There's a few other bands they've mentioned, but January, February is when the kind of final bands come.
They do sometimes have some big announcements on the second one, don't they?
If
I remember rightly, yeah, and I think Pantera as well were announced on the second night. So
I think it's the right thing to do. If you're a festival and you're going to announce this sort of lineup, hold something back. So if you need to drive ticket sales all of a sudden because they've been a bit slow, hold something back. Anyone that was undecided, that's on the fence, that hasn't brought one, you suddenly say that some of these other bands like obviously we said Pantera or Limp Bizkit or Slayer, allegedly last ever UK show, but they're back in the fold again. So who knows? But that could tip it. So I think that's why they do it. And obviously between now and June, anyone could pull out. I mean, last year they lost Bad Omens, they lost Electric Callboy. The year we were there, they lost Five Finger Death Punch, they lost Distillers. So you never know what's going to happen in the next sort of 6-7 months to what could change this lineup. But I think it's a lineup that makes sense to me. Am I ecstatic about the lineup? No. But what I am looking forward to is listening to loads of new bands and going, do you know what? Who am I really looking forward to? And there might be some that just surprise me on the day.
Yeah.
But
I like I say, I think I've just got very unlucky with this lineup. There's a lot of big bands there. There's a lot of bands that have got a hell of a lot of support. I just haven't got any of my sort of favorite bands there. Any of my sort of like top 20 favorite bands are just not there. But I understand why the festival is doing this. One thing I want to ask you, what we'll wrap up with, is we always like to compare this, like Hellfest is the huge festival now in France, isn't it? Which is absolutely incredible. You got some amazing ones over in America now, the one in Las Vegas that do all the new metal bands and stuff like that.
Sick New World.
Yeah. You know, should Download be going in that direction where they cover, I mean, Hellfest basically covers every metal genre, doesn't it? It has the new metal, the black metal, the death metal. They have tents for everything. If you're a fan of a certain genre of metal, you are covered at Hellfest. But I guess that's not really what Download is about, is it? It's an alternative rock festival. It's not a metal festival.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, they call themselves the UK's premier rock festival, don't they? You know, whereas Bloodstock is your metal festival. And I think if Bloodstock continues to grow, that becomes that kind of ilk festival more so.
Yeah.
You know, that one in Vegas, Sick New World, or whatever it's called, I think it's Sick New World, isn't it? I mean, that one got absolutely rinsed about organisation, lack of facilities, band clashes everywhere. The lineup was insane this year. You couldn't see even half of those bands because of the clashes. And you're talking like bands that if they were in the logo bands here, we'd be ecstatic about were like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, and it's like clashing with someone else playing 35 minutes. So I also think that it's cost, isn't it? You know, it's expensive there's theories that the reason this lineup's a bit weaker is because Green Day are very, very, very expensive. You know,
Really?
People in the know kind of say that Green Day is quite an expensive booking. Korn would be a cheap booking. And obviously it affects the undercard, how much you're spending, right? But look, I think we've looked at Hellfest before and gone, wow, that looks amazing. And it's probably because they're still playing a lot of those Euro bands that we love. And I don't think Download's ever really given a lot of love to those bands.
Yeah, you're right. You get your Nightwishes and stuff at Hellfest, don't you? You get your more Scandinavian bands and stuff, you know. There's a lot
That's
more.
what we always enjoyed, yeah. And they've never really got those big placements at Download. They've never been there.
Yeah. Well, I think the key is we'll wrap up with this. If you want that sort of festival, go over to France and go to Hellfest. Just make them go to Bloodstock. But yeah, Download's not going to be that sort of festival. It's a completely different to the European festivals. It's not a metal festival, and you know, it has to go in this direction now. And it sold out this year with Fall Out Boy headlining, you know, and Busted, you know, they're selling out with these lineups. So for them, they're going in the right direction. So
yeah, that's it. It'll always keep evolving, and they have to evolve. And you know, it's been coined Download 2.0, this new era. And yeah, if you don't do that, then you end up like Monsters of Rock and disappear, and that's the end of that. Sonosphere couldn't compete; they disappeared. So whatever Download are doing, they're doing it. They're doing the right thing.
Well, I think everyone can agree that they can't just keep wheeling out Aerosmith and Def Leppard and and Kiss.
It really was. Yeah.
But hey, like I keep saying, we will have an amazing time. Of course we will. We will have an amazing time with friends, watching bands, and it will be an amazing weekend, and I can't wait. So that's where we'll end it. We'll wrap this one up. Thanks for coming on, Woz. Until next time, take care.